Yes, now we can proceed.
Okay. Hi, good evening. This is Pallavi Joshi, your speaker for today. And today we're going to talk about the difference between obsessions and hobbies. However, before we do that, we're quickly going to recap about the last topic that I had discussed with you all was why people with autism have certain obsessions and how these obsessions are helpful for them. We had spoken about one very important thing is that let's not term these interests and these likings as obsessions. We all know that and are aware that people with autism have these little likings or interests which they have, and they do it a probably little bit more than what we understand, but these are certain interests and likings which kind of comfort them. So as I had spoken last time, obsession typically means or is described as behavior which is portrayed by individuals having OCD, and these behaviors are performed more out of compulsion and about the fact that they cannot control that behavior, which in turn could distress them. However, in case of individuals with autism, it's not that these behaviors are uncontrollable. It's that they need these behaviors, they need these special interests for giving them that set of grounding, that comfort, to kind of calm them when they have a sensory overload. So today, as I said, and last time also, let's try and use this more as a special interest and not as obsession. Right. Another thing that we had also discussed, that these special interests could be used by them as conversation starters, which when I say conversation starters, it means that they can use their special interests or the things that they are interested in and use that and start talking to people about it. And how can we instill them is that as being parents, siblings, caretakers, or educators, we need to start training them to talk about it. So the first step there would be that you start talking to them about it. You start giving them that information, and slowly they will reciprocate. For individuals who are nonverbal or have limited speech, we can start by just giving them knowledge about it. Like as an example, I had mentioned that I knew somebody who was extremely interested in trees and nature, and after talking to her about different kind of trees, and taking them to a place which was filled with trees and talking about different trees and making them touch it and feel it, that individual actually started taking up treks as one of their hobbies. So this special interest was converted into a hobby that way, right? So there are ways in which we can work around this. Now, coming back to today's topic as to how do we differentiate between their special interests, as the topic named was obsessions, and now we're going to call them as special interests. How we take these special interests, the differentiation between special interests and the hobbies. So these are basically divided into 5 main characteristics. You can divide them or you can differentiate them by 5 different characteristics. The first one being the intensity or the degree of the activity that they are doing. Second, the purpose of that activity. Third is how they are approaching the activity. For the amount that they are devoting to do that particular activity. And last is the activity itself. What is the activity? So I will repeat the 5 differentiations that one has to keep in mind when you're trying to understand whether it is a special interest or whether it is a hobby. Number 1 is the intensity or the degree of that particular activity. The second one is the purpose. Why are they doing this activity? Number 3 is how they are approaching this activity, how many times, for how long. Number 4 is the amount or the time that they are giving into that particular activity. And number 5 is the activity itself, is the kind of activity that they are doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elaborate on all these 5 in very simple understanding, and then let's move ahead from there and take it forward. So the first one, as I said, is the intensity or the degree at which these activities are done. Now, we know that these special interests are extremely intense, right? And they're very focused. They're extremely focused while they are doing that particular activity which falls under their special interest. However, we need to understand that these interests will be very narrow but very deep. तो जब मैं नैरो बोलती हूँ, इसका ये मतलब हुआ कि दे विल बी फोकसिंग ऑन ओनली वन थिंग. वो हो सकता है एक कैरेक्टर, एक टॉय, एक स्टफ्ड टॉय, एक बॉटल. सो वन थिंग, इट्स वेरी नैरो. ठीक है. एंड ये क्या होता है यूजुअली जब वो ये एक स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट होता है, दे वांट टू नो एवरीथिंग अबाउट दैट स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट. तो फॉर एग्जांपल आप एक स्टिक ले लो. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ देयर इज एन इंडिविजुअल हु हैज अ स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट इन स्टिक्स, राइट? तो वो स्टिक को हर एंगल से एनालाइज कर लेगा. द इंडिविजुअल विल एनालाइज इट फ्रॉम ऑल द एंगल्स. तो यू नो ही और शी will try to see कि if I put this stick inside a book flat, what will it be like? If I put the stick vertically, एक पॉट में अगर मैंने वो स्टिक डाल दी तो वो कैसे खड़ी रहेगी? अगर मैंने वो पॉट में मड डाला और वो स्टिक डाली तो वो कैसे खड़ी रहेगी, राइट? तो वो एक पर्टिकुलर चीज को बहुत ही इंटेंसिफाई करके देखते हैं और वो उनकी स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट होती है, राइट? हावेवर हॉबीज के साथ ये नहीं होता है. वो हॉबी को इतना एनालाइज नहीं करते हैं. दे विल नॉट एनालाइज इट. दे विल डू इट and they will get done with it. They might complete it, not complete it. That's not the point. The point is कि वो हॉबी में इतना इंटरेस्ट के साथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनालिसिस नहीं करेंगे. भले वो जब वो हॉबी करते हो वो ध्यान से कर रहे हैं, बट वो उतना एनालाइज नहीं करेंगे उस चीज को, राइट? तो वो उनके लिए बहुत इंटेंस नहीं रहेगी. ठीक है. नाउ द सेकंड अप्रोच विच इज पर्पस, एंड द थर्ड characteristic which is approach. We are going to combine these two. मैं ये दोनों के बारे में साथ में बात करूंगी. जब हम purpose की बात करते हैं, that why you know individuals with autism have special interest, जो activity उनकी होती है वो किस purpose से उसको choose करते हैं या क्या purpose होता है. We all know, और हमने ये last session में भी बात की थी, that जो इनका purpose होता है या जो इनकी special interest होती है, these interests are very intense, right? Or these are very important also for them. If we do not allow them to stick to their special interest, and we deprive them, it could lead to distress. उनको उससे तकलीफ हो सकती है या वो उससे बहुत ही सैड हो सकते हैं, राइट? तो हमने उन्हें वो स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट जो है वो कैरी फॉरवर्ड करने देना चाहिए. हाउएवर हॉबी के केस में ये नहीं होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर उन्हें कुछ करना है एंड वो उनका स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट नहीं है और हमने सपोज उन्हें वो नहीं करने दिया, तो वो उन्हें उतना अफेक्ट नहीं करेगा. वो हॉबी कब करेंगे? दे विल डू दीज हॉबीज विच दे विल एंजॉय. ओके, दे विल बी एंगेज्ड ऑल्सो उसमें, बट वो उनको उतना अफेक्ट नहीं करेगा अगर उन्होंने वो नहीं किया तो, राइट? एंड इसमें और क्या होता है is the approach, right? When there is a special interest, as I said, they go all in, right? They will analyze it from all angles, but hobbies are casual for them, right? They might participate, they might not participate, they will do it for a longer period of time, they will do it for a shorter period of time. So there is no particular टाइम जोन जिसमें वो ये हॉबी करेंगे, बट जो उनका स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट होता है उसमें हमें पता है कि दे विल गो ऑन फॉर अ लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, राइट? जैसे ये हॉबीज, अब हम फोर्थ पॉइंट पे आते हैं, विच इज द टाइम दैट दे स्पेंड, राइट, टू डू दीज हॉबीज. इसमें एक चीज होती है दैट बिकॉज जो हॉबीज है वो कैजुअल हो जाती है उनके स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट से, वो हॉबीज में शायद से एक आध बार यू नो ज्वाइन कर लें, हफ्ते में एक बार कर लें या हफ्ते में 2 बार कर लें अगर आपने बोला उन्हें तो, या अगर उनके यू नो आंख में आ गई कि अच्छा ये यहाँ पे पड़ा है, ये मेरी हॉबी है, मैं ये यू नो कर लेता हूँ या मैं ये हॉबी कर लेती हूँ, राइट? व्हेन दे आर बोर्ड ऑफ देयर स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट, तब वो ये हॉबी के पास जाते हैं, राइट? बट स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट का हमें अब तक आई एम श्योर समझ आ गया होगा कि वो उन्हें कंटिन्यूअसली करने की इच्छा होती है, right? So they can spend hours in their special interest, but for hobby, it's nothing specific. And the fifth point is the topic or the subject matter itself, जो activity है itself, जो topic or subject होती है for one's hobby, they are consistent over the years. मतलब that topic of hobby will keep on going on for years and years, and वो same mostly रहेगी, right? It will very rarely change. Okay, but when it comes to their special interests, these special interests change now and then. They have phases. Like I have a client who right now currently is very, very interested in bottle. So his bottle is everything for him. If he's coming to the class, he will keep his bottle right next to him. So if I have to tell him that, the bottle will fall down, you need to keep it down, he will think for 2 minutes. Then I have to reiterate that, you have to keep it down, but it is there next to you, so don't worry about it, right? So that is in case of their special interest. It is something that they want with them, right? Then uske thode time pehle, his interests were those small little toy trains. He wanted that toy train, one toy train. He didn't need all, but he wanted that one toy train with him all the time, right? So there are phases when we talk about special interests, but hobbies are consistent. वो long term होती है, वो बहुत जल्दी change नहीं होती है, right? तो जैसे हमने बात की, special interests are very narrow. वो एक चीज पे लिमिटेड होंगे, राइट? वो बहुत ब्रॉड नहीं होंगे. whereas हॉबीज जो होती हैं, ये बहुत ब्रॉड होती हैं. they are extremely broad. It could be like a sport, it could be an activity, right? And then that can be developed and taken ahead. Now what also happens is sometimes individuals with autism might, as I said, hobbies में जब उनकी, let's say, कोई sport हो गया या कोई activity हो गई जो उन्हें बहुत पसंद है, पर वो frequently नहीं कर रहे हैं, they are not doing it frequently, they just come, they just go, they do it a little, they explore it a little, but they don't do it at a very long term part. But if we as probably their educators or their parents feel ki nahi, this he's good or she's good at it, unhone try ki, let's say badminton for that matter, unhone try kiya and wo swing acha tha, to shayad se if we train them, they will be able to do it. That can be converted into something which we can take as special interest. So what will happen in such a case is that then you can actually start building it up as an actual interest, which they can do at all times, which eventually could also be used maybe for their career line as well. Right. So we do know of somebody, of an individual, in fact, he's a teen, and he plays badminton and he plays it beautifully. So initially it was just started during the lockdown. See, there was nothing at one could go out, so the mother and the son started going down in their building, and the mother was like, chalo, let's try and play badminton. And they started. Initially, of course, it was difficult, but the mother realized ki, maybe that is something that we can start doing that on a daily basis. So they first made it into a ritual that it's 5:30, we are going to go down and play badminton. So they started with that. It slowly led to a hobby. He started showing his interest, and it eventually has become into a special interest. And now he's going, and they have joined YMCA, and he also plays over there. So it's not very difficult to convert a hobby into something which the child or the teen or an adult can start doing more for like a routine for them to follow, which in return is also going to give them a sense of grounding, a sense and a place to vent out, a sense and like a target to follow. Right. So that is something that, one can definitely work on, and one should try and, instill this. So just to kind of recap everything, five characteristics, 5 differences that you should be on a watch out to know the difference, so that as a parent or an educator, you can easily bifurcate them and then channelize it. One is the intensity of that particular interest or the activity. Second is the purpose, why they are doing it and what they are doing. Third is how are they approaching it. Fourth is the time that they are giving towards it. The time, when you see that they're completely into it, and when they're just like coming for a short while, bore ho gaye to aake kar li, that's when it's a hobby. And the subject matter itself, as we spoke, that special interests are pretty narrow and hobbies are broad, and these hobbies can definitely be taken into a long term way of approach in life, right? Now there's one more little topic that I would like to add for today is I do get a lot of queries from parents when they say that ये इनका जो obsession है, या ये इसको ये बहुत पसंद है and ये continuously यही करता रहता है, वो अगर नहीं मिलता है तो tantrum चालू हो जाते हैं, or they have like a meltdown, or they are upset about it, they just don't want to leave it. So there are ways in which this can be set, these special interests which turn into something that they just cannot leave, they just don't want to get away with, right? So typically isko kaise recognize kar sakte hain is that when it's an activity and an individual is unable to stop that activity, right? या वो जो उनका interest है वो independently stop नहीं कर सकते हैं, like somebody has to continuously tell them that अच्छा now leave this, it's time for lunch, or leave this, now you've got to go to school. तो जब वो individually अपने आप से नहीं छोड़ सकते हैं and आपको बार बार उनको remind करना पड़ता है या बार बार बोलना पड़ता है, that's when we have to understand that this special interest is getting a little difficult and it could impact on their life, right? Second is when that particular special interest that is there, it starts affecting their learning. They are not ready to learn or do anything else besides that special interest. So that's when we need to somewhere down the line understand that this special interest needs to be channelized. Third is when these activities or these special interests are limiting their social opportunities. For example, if it's a birthday party and you have taken your teen or your child with autism to a birthday party, and they are completely let's say it's a play area, and wahan pe there's just that one slide that they want to go to continuously, right? So that's when you have to kind of get in, and you have to make your child explore, because if the child is just on that one slide, their opportunity of be it a limited interaction is going to deteriorate, right? So that's when you need to kind of go into the picture and get your child out and let them interact with the other people, right? And the fourth part being that when this particular activity or interest is causing disruption to other people, it could be parents, it could be caregivers, it could be family members as well. So if it's causing a lot of disturbance, a lot of disruption, that is when we need to understand that yes, this is a special interest which needs channelizing. So I'm going to repeat again 4 markers for one to understand key these special interests need channelizing. One is when they are unable to independently stop the activity. 2, when this particular activity or special interest is hampering their learning, which means that they are not ready to focus on anything else. Number 3 is when it restricts the social opportunities, when they are not willing to move beyond that, when they only are wanting to do that one thing, and then it stops them from interacting, how much ever little they are from stops interacting them interacting with other people. And the fourth one being that if it's physically or just in general disrupting or disturbing people around them, that's when it needs channelization. So just a couple of tips as to how these special interests can be managed is one is set limits. So of course you can tell the individual that there is a time limit in which they can engage themselves in that special interest. Having said that, it does not mean that you're completely restrictive on that, because as we have discussed, these special interests are a sense of grounding for them. They are a sense of relaxation and a sense of comfort. So where you set timings, yes, that's very important. But depending on how the day is going, we also bring in a little bit of leeway when we feel that, especially on days when things are going to be different. Let's say you need them to do something which is not a part of their routine and that disturbs them. That's when you tweak it a little. The time that you have set for them, you change it a little. But a very important part is to keep them in the loop of this. When you're going to do that, inform it to them so that they are prepared for it. So as I was saying about setting limits, setting a time for it, like for example, if there is an individual who wants to talk about, let's say, enjoys Thomas trains and continuously always has a routine, he wants to talk only about that particular Thomas train, or wants to see a video or a picture of that particular Thomas train only all the time on the computer or on the laptop, you set a limit that it can be for half an hour in the entire day. Or if that is very abstract, you can give them a time limit. If time is something that they have not, they've still not achieved seeing, you can associate that with an activity. Like say when you come back from school, you can watch it for half an hour, like that. So you can associate it. So that gives them an understanding ki ha, mujhe abhi milega. So when they are thinking about it, they have that sense of comfort. They are, it's known to them that once I get home, I will get it, right? So it kind of cools them down. Then the second way you can do it, that you can make it predictable, right? You can make it predictable, and how you can do that is by preparing them in advance, right? For example, as I said, you're taking them out, and it has overwhelmed them, and to kind of reduce their anxiety, you can tell them that we're going to go home, and we will go home and watch this, or you can go home and take your Peppa book, or uh, at limited times, you can also prepare them in advance that we are going to go to this one's house. You can carry your Peppa book there, but you can only watch there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So you give them like a predictable thing कि वहां पे जाके हम ये करने वाले हैं, उसमें आप लेके जा सकते हो अपनी पेपा बुक, बट हम वो 15 मिनट या 20 मिनट के लिए करेंगे खाली, right? And the third thing is you encourage their communication about something, to reduce that dependency on that special interest, and to make them talk about when they are using that particular special interest at times of worry, at times of anxiety. So you can use that as form of communication. You can reduce the dependence on special interest as a comfort when there are worries, right? And when you do that, you are also giving them the opportunity to talk. So indirectly आप क्या कर रहे हैं, indirectly आप जो उनका special interest है उसको respect कर रहे हो, but आप उसको slowly transfer कर रहे हो communication में, right? So these are three typical tips that one can follow while working on their special interest, right? So ways in which you can use the special interest and use it to the benefit, their benefit and your benefit. One. Second, how particular special interests can actually be led into hobbies, which they can actually take up for lifetime, right? Which could lead to form of a career path as well, right? And the difference between a hobby and a special interest. So I hope this was helpful. And the difference between hobby special interest has been clear enough, and makes it easier for y'all to identify later on in the future whenever y'all are interacting with an individual with autism. Thank you so much. I hope to connect with you all soon.